Right, you won't tell me to stop yet, so here we go. Bedtime read. Don't fall asleep on the couch. Rowan. It always reminds me of Heartbeat, this. PC Rowan. So you might know some policemen. The Rowan Tree. Number 25. Lewis. The tree. The Rowan. Quicken or quick beam. The second moon. The tip of the index finger is Capricorn. Is it not? Is it Capricorn? It is. The colour lieth grey. The stone yellow chrysolite and green beryl and yellow topaz. The bird is the laku, the duck. The goddess is Sequana, Bridget and Bowen. You know, Bridget's very special to me because it's the day that I did my Facebook page. Well, this one anyway. The symbols, the three phases of the goddess. The white blossom, the virgin, the maiden, so possibly Virgo, and the red berries, menstruating woman, or not that again, the mother, black bark, the old wise woman, the crone, the planet Vesta, which always reminds me of the matches, the musical note of D. The message is vision, magic. The word Ogham is flame, herb, delight of the eye, and sustenance of cattle. We talked about herbs in the daily read, didn't they? The flower essence is clematis on elm. Rowan is also called mountain ash and quicken. It is small, delicate goddess tree found in the mountainous areas as well as gardens. Like elder, it is a witch tree, and it is often planted as a guardian, showing its moon symbolism with creamy white flowers in spring and brilliant red berries in the fall. A traditional way of protecting a house or barn was to cut 2 twigs from a rowan tree you had never seen before, tie them into a cross with red wool, and weave it into a diamond shape between the 4 arms. Rowan wands were used not only in magic but to drive horses, so those born in the year of the horse, and cattle, so Taurus, and the year of the ox, and ward off evil influences. In the autumn, this elegant tree looks most colourful, with red and gold leaves. The ancient people called it Lewis. Also called delight of the eye, Rowan is related to the power of the sun and the element of fire, so fire signs. Its powers are healing, psychic power associated with success. Its colour is red, and its bird the duck, known to sustain and extend life. Because the rowan gives special insight, it can be seen as a tree of protection against enchantment. It provides forewarnings of things of which we may not be aware. It always tells us to look within and seek the insight necessary to overcome our problems, which is what I Ching's just told us to do. It lets us know the inner vitality necessary to us is available. Lewis describes a vast sea of flooding vitality waiting to be tapped. Know that there are some flooding, but this state will only be temporary. Your challenge is to avoid being overly influenced by those forces outside of yourself, so don't let them in your head. O rowan tree, thou'lt aye be dear to me. Entwined thou art with it with morny ties of home and infancy. Thy leaves were aye the first of spring, thy flowers the simmer pride. There was Nassich a bonny tree in the countryside. O Rowan tree, how fair wert thou in summertime, with a cluster white, how rich and gay thy autumn dress, with berries red and bright. On thy fair stem were many names, which now ne'er more I see, but there engraven on my heart, forgot there ne'er can be. O Rowan tree, we sat beneath thy spreading shade, the bairns around thee ran. They put the bonny berries red, and necklaces they strang. Your mother, oh, I see her still, she smealed our sports to see, with little Jeanie on her lap and Jamie on her knee. So the name Jamie and Jeanie could be important. O Rowan tree, oh, there arose my father's praise in holy evening calm. How sweet was then my mother's voice in the martyr's psalm. Now again we meet near more aneath the rowan tree, but hallowed thoughts around thee twine a home and infancy, O Rowan tree. The red berries of the rowan or mountain ash are historically used to lure birds into traps. Birds are also responsible for dispersing the seeds. Rowan live well in poor soil and colonise easily in disturbed areas. In some parts of Europe, they are very common and around ancient settlements, possibly through cultivation. They bloom in May and can grow up to 50 feet tall. They are members of the rose family, so the name rose again. They do grow in North America, mostly in the northeast. Of the second moon, Amagon sings, I am a lake upon a plain. Many ancient people had stories of floods in which water was both honoured as a life-bringer and a destroyer. And do you remember we mentioned the moon pool? Water was seen as something that escaped from the realms of the gods. In many of the stories, it seemed to be a female who was involved when water would move through some disaster, come to the land and bring growth and abundance through turbulence. Probably the most famous version of this myth is Celtic tradition is the Irish story of the well of Serges. Growing around this well were 9 hazel trees. So hazel is a name, could be important, whose nuts fell into the water, and the nuts could be something you need to think about getting, and gave it the quality of divine illumination, much sought after by the seeking this wisdom. Only the owner of this well and his 3 cupbearers were allowed to approach the well, and the goddess Bone desired a drink from the well to increase her power. She came to it secretly, but the well exploded, flooding the land, flowing to the sea as a river, so there may be some flooding. Later named Boyne, which has been thought to contain her spirit ever since. Through this story, rather than being the tragic victim, Bone became the nurturing, life-enhancing goddess of the people. Imbolc occurs during the lunar cycle, and the goddess Brigid has been given honour at this time. The conjunction of fire and water, the 1st of February, is important, which appears to be polar opposites, are actually the main symbols for fertility and healing. Brigid kindles the fire in earth as well as being the life-giving power of the sun, but she is also the one who sends the river and springs out into the land. Because of this, she is the mistress of fire and water, bringer of fertility to the land. She is fire in water. The fire symbolism of Imbolc is placed right in the middle of a time when we are surrounded by water in the form of great floods. This last long ending of winter is usually often a time of heavy rains and snow, and because of the sun is beginning to offer longer periods of light and warmth. Frost is no longer holding deeply in the soil, but it now melting and seeping into the earth, bringing texture to the land and getting it ready for the new growth soon to emerge. This is the quickening, just like we used to call it a quickening when the baby first turns in your belly. This will soon give us the early signs of spring, with bulbs pushing themselves up into view. For us, That means it is time to thaw out our spirits and warm ourselves, allowing a thaw from the winter's cold darkness and preparing for our own new growth. So in the movement of this cycle, we first become aware of the growing waters of emotion, feeling its pressure upon our quiet spirit so long in the dark. We find ourselves yearning to begin a time of conscious manifestation. Then at the full moon, we may allow the well or our emotions to spill over and observe how this loosens our heart and spirits and brings us a period of fertile growth and possibility. It is time for us to thaw, release our spirits and find new growth and exhilaration in fresh, life-bringing waters. All on the plain there stands a lake, a magic mirror doth it make, and gathered on a wintry night ye may behold a wondrous sight. For in that lake reflected are the Lady Moon and Morning Star. Across the sky they journey on, to her son she sings this song. Cradled in my loving arms, your dreams unmarred by fear of harm. Swift be ride in the heavenly boat, as on the Milky Way we float. Where turns the crown of the northern wind, a silver island shall you find, and on that isle a castle white, wherein is peace and calm delight. Inside the castle's silver wall there stands a dark majestic hall, and in that hall a lady fair, the end of all desire is there. So slumber deep, thou heavenly twin, and so thy journey soon begin. For they who in love's flame will die shall rise again, I promise thee. On the earth, in the air, through the fire, by the water, I am the breath, the Rowan moon's daughter. So, why is the duck in the next place? Not hard. This is the month of floods, when the ducks swim over the meadow, and grey is the colour of the floodwater and the rainy skies. Topaz. It's colourless, yellow, red-brown, light blue, pinkish red, and pale green. Form a fluor-containing aluminium silicate. The colours are rarely vivid, and pink is the most valuable colour. Topaz is an empathic stone. Its energy spreads out like warming rays of the sun, soothing and healing, giving life to all that encounter. The subtle rays of energy spread Topaz's gift of positive energy to all who need it. Topaz clears and heals your auric body, while it balances energy flow in your physical body. This can recharge and renew your energy levels, leaving you more motivated and better able to tackle life challenges. Topaz can also protect. It shields your auric energy from negative influences during periods of change. It is a good crystal for times of crisis and rapid life changes. It allows you to tap into your own inner resources for the strength to complete the task at hand. The energy of Topaz radiates outwards in all directions, and this can teach you to allow your own vision to project in more than one direction. This is especially beneficial to those in the arts or sciences, because it can help you to see solutions in unexpected places. Topaz soothes and calms the nervous system, making it an excellent stone for relaxation and meditation. By neutralizing distracting influences, it can reduce stress and make you feel more at peace. Topaz can help to find the path to your goal. Its subtle energies can help you to pierce the gloom of uncertainty to illuminate a way to success. Physically, Topaz is said to be beneficial to the nervous system and the blood. It can also reduce the stress that is the root cause of many of mankind's ailments. Topaz is a good choice for those born in the zodiac of Aries, Leo, and Gemini. Sequana. Water is the daily necessity for Earth's creatures. When the continental Celts were looking for new homeland, they ventured west from the unknown river valleys of the great landmass called Eurasia, just beyond the great mountains, the Alps. They discovered sweet, abundant water, fertile soil, and expansive woodlands. Now, if they left our water alone, ours might be sweet. If you ever get a well on your own land. Use it. The plentiful fish, game, berries, grasses, fungi, and broadleaf plants necessary to support the tribe. We say the Celts originated in Alsace, in northeastern France, about 3,500 years ago. We know they didn't spontaneously generate. Where and how they lived before that time and place are questions whose answers lie in prehistory. We do know that Celtic spirituality was its roots animistic. Spirit was alive in every living thing. Non-anthropomorphic, the source of life and death was water, land, plant, and animal life. Tribe-specific in France alone there is evidence of several hundred deities, a spirituality of place, of the major landforms that define the world, rivers, springs, forests, animals, heavenly bodies. To the extent that Celts' spirituality was theistic, the creator, sustainer, destroyer of life was typically a goddess. The Celts who settled at the source of the great river system defining their home called the river Squan, a Celtic word describing the shape of a snake. Squan then was river and goddess. In my name, she was my mother snake, source of life. Her hair-flowing waters sustained the tribe in the same way mother's milk nurtured children through infancy and early childhood. Sequana is the Latin word for the Sienne, the most famous of the 5 principal rivers in France, and also for the Celtic Squan, the mother goddess of the tribes of Celts who lived on her shores and islands 3,000 years ago. She was river goddess, the living spirit of the land, eau de vie. The Sienne runs from its source west of the Alps, through the heart of Paris to the mouth of Le Havre, where it rejoins the English Channel and the waters of the Atlantic Ocean and the North and Irish Seas. In Celtic spirituality, the spirit of the land was often embodied in water, in springs, rivers, lakes, and later the sacred or holy wells. Sequana is both the surface and underground waters of the Seine and her tributaries, also all the lands drained by them. She is a watershed deity, alive today in the network of watersheds in the Paris Basin and in the hearts of some of her people who remember. She is the mother of the clan, Snake River, bestower of health. In her arms she carries the overflowing cornucopia of abundance-giving land. Her sacred animal was the duck. From living river, flowing like a river to the sea, love flows through you, and it flows through me. Water belongs to the earth and all species and is sacred to life. Therefore the world water must be conserved, reclaimed and protected for all future generations, and its natural pattern respected. Water is a fundamental human right and a public trust to be guarded by all levels of government. Therefore it should not be commodified, privatised or traded for commercial purposes, but they try, don't they? This right must be enshrined at all levels of government. In particular, an international treaty must ensure these principles are non-controversial. Water is the best protected by local communities and citizens who must be respected as equal partners with governments in the protection and regulation of water. People of the earth are the only vehicle to promote earth democracy and save water. Water also figured highly in pagan clusters, Living River action during the protests. The Living River mission statement included, we say that our lives are communities. The health of the earth's ecosystem, the cultures of the indigenous people, the dreams of the children are too important to be subsumed to profit. Another world is possible, a world of justice, freedom, ecological balance, and true abundance. And we will make it real. Although the negotiators of the FTAA believe they have a fenced out descent, we believe they have walled themselves in. We intend to liberate them so they can hear the voices of the people, the land and the water. So Bridget, my beloved Bridget, is a goddess found in many mythologies, including those of Ireland, France and Wales. Because she exists in so many different cultures, Bridget has literally a never-ending list of names. The name Bridget comes from the Gaelic word Brios gift. Her name means fiery arrow. Bridget is symbolised by fire, flames, and the hearth. She is also symbolised by water and cauldrons, grain, Bridget wheels, Bridget bed. Creatures, a white cow and red ears and a swan, and also by talismans, the spinning wheel. Bridget is the goddess of inspiration, smithcraft, and healing. Bridget oversees poets, poetry, creativity, prophecy, and the arts. In smithcraft, he oversees blacksmith, goldsmiths, and household crafts, and in healing, Bridget looks after healers, medicine, spiritual healing, and fertility, crops, land, and cattle. And it was a big shock to me that when I first learned about Bridget, that my page was started on Bridget's day. So she is very special to me. The best known as Bridget, another name for her is Cerridwen. Cerridwen is Bridget's name in the Welsh folklore. Cerridwen holds an incredibly important role as a mythological and historical figure because she is said to be the mother of the famous Welsh poet Taliesin. Although Cerridwen and Bridget have separate histories, the only difference comes from the separate cultures. She is the Lady of the Shore, for the shore is one of those magical, in-between places that so fascinated the Celts, which is why I think I like the beach. These in-between places such as shorelines, fjords, doorways and so on, were neither one state nor the other. The shore is neither dry land nor the sea, yet it is the meeting place of both. If we consider that the land represents our solid material world, while the sea represents the great cosmic womb of all life, the intuitive side of our natures, we can see that the shore is a meeting place between one world and another, which is why my house is filled with shells. Bridget is also known as a two-faced one. In the legend, she is described as having one side of her face black and ugly and the other white and beautiful. The mystery of Bride is to be found in the annual transformation of the Cailleach, the hag of winter, into the fair maiden of spring. Bridget is the goddess of all arts and crafts. She represents the potential of all women, for she is the eternal flame that burns in the heart and hearth of every woman of the Gael. Moon-crowned Bridget of the undying flame. Finally, Bridget presides over the cradle of the newborn infant. It is a common practice for the women of the Isle to hang Rowan crosses over their cradle while reciting a charm or prayer to Bridget to invoke her protection. W.B. Yeats. I went out to the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread. And when the white moss were on the wing, the moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream, and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow a fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl, with apple blossom in her hair, who called me by my name and ran, and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old and wandering through hollow hands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone, and kiss her lips and take her hands, and walk among long dappled grass, and pluck till time and time are done, the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun. And Shelley, and a silver shaped like his early love doth pass, upborne by her wild and glittering hair, and when she wakes on the fragrant grass, he finds night day. Hail to thee, blithe spirit, bird thou never wert, that from heaven or near it pourest thou full heart, in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. And Milton, look, nymphs and shepherds, look, what sudden blaze of majesty is that which we from hence decree, to divine to be mistook. This is she, to whom our vows and wishes bend, here our solemn search hath end. Mark what radiant state she spreads and circles round her shimmering throne, shooting her beams like silver threads. This is she alone, sitting like a goddess bright in the centre of her light. Beautiful. So the 1st of February, Bridget's Day, things will be different. For now, we have to go within and find our inner peace. Thanks for listening. May God bless.